It's Anarchist Jurisdiction. I'm Zach Burns. Of course, Terry Holloman with me.
What's up?
Hey, Terry.
Hey, man.
See, I'm holding in my hand. I'm going to hold it up to the webcam. Something I found today.
Compact disc?
It's a compact disc. At the time when compact discs were the absolute cutting edge, because this is a compact disc that I made for myself. So I burned these tracks on my own.
Oh.
I'm sure you remember doing that and thinking like, we've reached the pinnacle of technology.
It's not
How could we possibly advance?
It can't get any better than this.
It can't get any better. This is the first radio demo I ever put together for myself.
Oh.
Yeah, this has my college radio. When I was a rock jock, my college radio demo when I was just trying to simply work at some music stations. And then the third track is my first foray into talk radio.
Oh.
Which is a show that was called the Dirk and Nash Show, Terry. And I was Nash, and I'm assuming
was
Dirk. Yeah, and I guess it was like kind of Dallas Mavericks themed, like Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash. Might have been. They were both fake names.
Yeah,
yeah, and he was. He was an idiot from Alabama.
Where were you? Where were you living at the time?
DC. I was doing an internship in Fairfax, Virginia, but for a station that broadcast in the DC area.
Okay.
And he was the other intern, so we thought, well, let's try to do a show together. And I remember bringing it to the program director because they had weekend openings.
Yeah.
And he was like, "This is just you being mean to an idiot for 45 minutes."
What were you doing to Dirk, man? What was wrong with Dirk?
He was just a really bad father. So I didn't realize like, oh, you kind of have to connect with your co-host at that point.
We just ran rough out over him.
Pretty much. I learned a lot at that internship though.
Bully Burns.
This was before Zach Burns even existed. I think I was I didn't even know if I had I was Nash. My name was Nash. I don't know if I had a last name. Maybe I did. The weird thing is that as dumb as he was, I let him take care of all the branding. I don't know why. He was just like, "I'm gonna be Dirk and you're gonna be Nash," and I was like, "Okay,
all right, sure, let's run with that."
Yeah, let's go with it.
I gotta ask you something though, real quick. So you did top 40 radio? Is that what you just said?
I did what? Sorry.
You did top 40 radio?
Yeah. When I did my college station, very briefly. So, but what I tried to break in, because there were just more jobs for this at the time, was introducing songs. So it was like,
did you have the voice?
I don't know. Do I? Because
I'm saying, did you have because I feel like the talk radio voice is a little bit different than
it's your regular voice.
Radio.
Yeah.
Coming up at 6 o'clock, we got the top of the hour.
No, that was kind of my problem. Is that I didn't have that. So it's just like, oh, here's Bruce. You've heard the song a million times.
For the 37th time this hour.
Actually, I had some enthusiasm when I was at WMCX out of Monmouth University because I got to play whatever I wanted. But then the first music station I worked for was called The Breeze. Your home for unforgettable favorites. Unforgettable favorites, The Breeze. And I was a character called the Breeze Boy.
You didn't even have a real fake name. You were just
I was just the Breeze Boy. And I was like 24. I mean, I wasn't a boy, but not yet a man.
Breeze Man doesn't sound nearly as good.
Yeah,
I'm the Breeze Man.
Especially because I was supposed to. I was on the air with a bunch of much older people. I I worked for a show called Up with Downs in the Morning, which makes it seem like you wake up and just pop a Valium right away.
And yeah, just take
And
it down.
he was the worst jock ever. And I'm sorry, Tim, if you're listening to this, but you know.
You know.
And he was just terrible. So I was the producer of this morning show and I was the breeze boy. So I was supposed to be this intern type character who could not have been more in love with just the blessing that it was to be involved with the radio station. So I was just excited to clean the station van and put together the prize packs and make everybody coffee and everything. You know, so every Friday I had this segment called On the Job with the Breeze Boy, which, you know, someone else voiced. And then I would come on and be like, I can't tell you how great a morning I had. And then I would sort of put a voice on. But, you know, as soon as it ran, I was like, you fuckers. They knew who I was. And I think that's what kind of made it fun, is that I was playing this character that I clearly wasn't. But there is this, it feels like a completely different industry than talk radio does, Terry. Like, I don't know if you've ever done music radio.
No.
I understand it's all radio, and to most people it's like, well, it's either 97.1 or 98.3. But if one is talk and one is music, it's just such an insanely different experience.
I've sat in on a couple of sessions when guys are doing their shows. I've been invited in to, you know, just to see how it goes. And I was like, there's, like you said, like it's a world of difference. I mean, a lot of the stuff I saw was, some of the stuff I saw on Top 40 radio was like produced.
Yes.
Like it was really produced. Like for instance, like I hate to, for anybody that's out here watching right now, and we're about to have the pull back the curtain on the Wizard of Oz moment.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, when you hear those things on the radio, like the second date updates and the prank phone calls, like we're gonna call so and so and tell them all, you know, this is your husband doing this and that and the third. It's fake.
Totally fake.
It's not real.
Fake. Yeah, they hire actors and actresses to do that.
It's produced
and have been for 20 years.
Yeah,
and still people are fooled by it.
They're like, "Oh my God, did you hear this morning? This girl got totally busted." Hey,
yeah. No. Well, Terry, let's talk about, and because I can't talk about this enough. You mentioned second date update, which is terrible. Second date update is like this couple went out one time and one didn't call the other, and then they get both of them online to figure out why. But the worst one is War of the Roses, isn't it, Mandy? And I happen to know someone who's actually one of the actresses who plays like the wife on these calls. So War of the Roses, are you familiar with this one, Terry?
No.
Okay. Our good friend Brian does this in Dallas. And War of the Roses is they call someone out of the blue, right? The radio station does. And of course, remember when I say someone, everyone involved is actors and actresses. So they call someone and they're like, hey, we're from internetflowers.com. And we are just calling people at random to give them a free dozen roses.
Yeah. Okay. I'm familiar with it now.
Yeah. Now you know it. You know it. Yeah. And instead of the person being like, no, thank you, bye, or it going straight to voicemail, because who doesn't have their do not disturb function on? The guy's like, yeah, that sounds great. Well, actually, at first, he's always like, I don't know. And then the person, the fake caller is like, oh, you know, how about, but they're free. And he's like, okay, can I give them to my lover? Oh. And
so that's how we always address us.
Right. Yeah. So
you gotta send flowers.
The fake person giving the flowers is like, well, who do you want them to give them to? Who do you want the inscription to be? And it's like, oh, could you please give them to Michelle? And then his wife's name is not Michelle. It's, you know, it's Lola or whatever. And then Lola's on. Why the fuck was the first woman's name that came to be after Michelle Lola?
Lola, like she was from 1937.
Right, no one's named Lola anymore. And then Lola's on the line. and she's like, "Who's Michelle?" And then he gets busted for yeah. And then this happens like 3 times a morning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
and everybody they call is actors and actresses.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Sorry. I mean, maybe it doesn't. You know, I most movies we watch, all movies we watch, unless they're documentaries, have actors and actresses, and we can suspend disbelief. But they do really make it seem like this is a real thing that's actually happening, and it's horrible. It's very horrible. But yeah, people get paid to act in it.
Yeah. It is what it is, man. Everybody has to have a job, right? Everybody has to have a position, a role to play.
I just do feel like that job is ruining radio.
I mean, but it's been part of it, like you said, for like the better part of the last 20 plus years, right?
Yeah, it's true. It has.
And some people just like to, like you said, suspend
disbelief.
Yeah, for just a minute. It's like, hey, that was entertaining.
That was fun. Oh my God, I can't believe that guy gave. And and actually, the person who pointed out, who's actually one of the actors on this, pointed out something really interesting. Like, if they've been doing, and by the way, Ryan Seacrest does this, who's like makes more money than anybody in the radio industry. Wouldn't word get out that, like, you know, if someone calls you to offer free flowers, if you're gonna get them, give your wife's name or your grandma's name, otherwise you're gonna be busted. Like, if they've been doing it for 50 years, you think word would spread. You
would think, right? At least one or two people. Before we jump off, I mean, you did bring up Ryan Seacrest.
I did.
And I gotta speak about Ryan Seacrest for a second. And you know, a lot of people always ask me, they're like, "Hey T, man, if it's anybody in media you want to be like, who would you want to be like?" Like Howard Stern, maybe Stephen A. Smith, or somebody else.
Oh no, what happened to Terry? I was just listening to him, because I'm guessing he was going to say Ryan Seacrest, which would have surprised everybody. All right, Terry, hold on. There we go. And you're going to say Ryan Seacrest, aren't you? And surprise us all.
It is Ryan Seacrest. I mean, I look at where he began. We first knew him as the American Idol guy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even, I don't think the first year, I don't think he was even the good mains.
There was Dunkelman. Is that his name?
I don't even remember the guy now. The other guy.
He's turned into an Uber driver. I'm not kidding.
Imagine that. Come on, dude.
I swear. The co-host of the first season, because Seacrest was not alone the first season. It was like Brian Dunkelman. Yeah, he's an Uber driver now. Which, nothing wrong, but a precipitous drop from being host of the biggest show in the world for 10 years.
This is so, and this is what I'm saying. So I think it was like yesterday.
Yeah.
My TV was on, and I was watching, and it was like on, I don't know, I think it was TMZ. Something was playing in the background.
Right.
There's the Breeze Boy.
There it is.
When I was listening, they were saying Ryan Seacrest was selling his house in like Malibu for like $45 million.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, who wouldn't want to be Ryan Seacrest right now? Like,
yeah,
he's like, his name is on everything behind the scenes.
Yeah, what do you think of that? Do you think what is it you think America sees in him?
I don't even know. I think what happened was, I think he had a different agenda. I think when he came out, he used his celebrity and turned it into, like, I think the most of his money came from producing and executive producing shows, right? He was the guy that's the mastermind behind the Kardashians, right?
Oh, so, I didn't know that. Yeah, that would make sense. Okay.
He's like the reality show mastermind. So I
didn't know that.
I think he took his fame and his from American Idol and leveraged it into some other things in Hollywood and just became a mover and shaker. And then now he does his daytime TV stuff and radio stuff and whatever it might be. And shit, everything is just gravy.
Yeah, he hasn't really had a failure. He's had, American Idol went off for a little while, but it's back, I think, on ABC. Mm-hmm. And then of all the people they could have picked after Strahan, when it came to who's going to be Kelly Ripa's new host, they went back to Seacrest. So he's got 3 major gigs. So that's a good pick, Terry.
Yeah.
All the people that you'd want to be.
I mean, and people sometimes, like, I think people just don't realize everything that he's done, and they just think, it's the guy from American Idol or whatever it was. But he's
on TV probably more than anybody.
Yep. He does the New Year's Rockin' Eve.
Oh, he took over for Dick Clark. That's right.
Yeah. I'm looking him up right now. He's just all over the place.
Yeah, he's as busy as anybody.
Yep.
It's admirable what he's done with someone, because his predecessor, I would say, Terry, is Carson Daly, who a lot of other people would rag on Carson Daly. Like, why is he rag on him all you want. He's still on TV constantly.
Yeah.
And again, I never got it, but there's something about him that people seem to appreciate.
Somebody got him.
Yeah, somebody was into him.
Ryan Seacrest is worth $450 million.
Get the fuck out.
$500 million, dude.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if you ask me again, from here on out, who I would want to be like in the media business.
Yeah.
Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah. You got one?
Would you? Well, I mean, why would I pick anybody else
at this point?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see if I can think of somebody who because there's nothing fun about that I would enjoy about what Ryan Seacrest does. Like, I don't find his show particularly interesting. Any of his shows, and American Idol, I don't think I'd be into doing.
Well, you didn't have to take his personality. You could be.
That's true. Oh, is it just about straight up cash? Then yeah. I want Ryan Seacrest. Well, then I want Oprah. Then it'll just be Oprah.
Oprah, why not?
Yeah. Toriano Porter. Toriano, your camera's not on. We'll get back to you when you figure that out, because he suggested someone actually really great. Andy Cohen. And man,
I would love to hear his explanation.
Andy Cohen is the head of E Network. Like, you talk. No, I think Andy Cohen is the one behind all the.
Nope.
All the Kardashians. No, is he?
All the Kardashians. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, no. But Andy Cohen is as talentless as anybody who's ever been on TV. He really is. He's just dreadful. But I love all the shows that he's put on E. Like, I watch them all the Real Housewives, not all of them, but Vanderpump Rules, all that stuff. And then now he's replaced Kathy Griffin on what I watch on New Year's Eve, the drunken Anderson Cooper show on CNN.
Oh, that's a shit show, ain't it though?
It is a mess.
But it's always fun. I wonder if
always fun. Don Lemon got his fucking nipple pierced on live TV, and then like 3 days later was like, but also I'm a credible news person. And I'm like, no, there's some things you can't unsee.
What about Kathy Gifford? Isn't that her name? Is she still on it?
Kathy Griffin.
Kathy Griffin.
She got booted
after she cut off Trump's head?
She cut off Trump's head, which was the stupidest thing ever.
You derailed your career.
For a dumb, and that was her only gig of the year anyway. Like, her only high-profile gig. She's always, she could probably always sell out like 500-600 seats anywhere she goes, because she's a decent comedian. Actually, she's pretty funny.
Right.
But in terms of actually getting on TV, her only gig was she made Anderson Cooper giggle, and then she decided
she made him uncomfortable. She made him uncomfortable all the time, and that's what I would tune in for, to watch her do her thing, make Anderson wiggle a little bit.
And I love the producers just seem to leave at like 12:07, and they're just like, do whatever the fuck you
go ahead.
Yeah, this is all on you.
It's your show.
Yeah. I feel like I'm not getting enough Santa in the shot here, because I paid good money for this. There,
you gotta make sure to get Santa back there, bro.
There we are. So we're actually it's my dad and I here in the house, and we're adding more and more lights, and we're getting more and more to the Christmas spirit as December rolls forward. It's fun.
Yeah.
We had nothing here when I first arrived. Now we're throwing up all this stuff. We got a tree. It's not big. It's 4 feet. It came with already decorated, but it's a tree.
Yeah.
We're into it.
It's not about the size of the tree in the Christmas.
True.
It's the size of the Christmas in the tree. That should be for real, like a Hallmark card. It's not about the size of the Christmas tree.
Right.
The size of the Christmas in the tree.
That makes me feel so much better about the tree. And it's actually how I felt about the tree from the minute I saw it anyway. I fell immediately in love.
You didn't feel like Charlie Brown anymore, right?
I always feel like Charlie Brown.
You blockhead! Look at this little tree.
Do you ever notice? No one seems to particularly get along in Peanuts cartoons. Yeah, like who's really good friends in that? Like Snoopy and Woodstock are, but beyond that, it doesn't seem like Charlie Brown particularly cares for Snoopy.
I mean, when did
you never see them have a tender moment?
When did they come into really with their own, like the '60s, right?
Yeah, I think that's when all the specials were made.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of, people were a little more edgy and dry. There's a lot of shit going
unloving, I guess.
Yeah,
but, but the '60s, that was right around the summer of love. You think that they'd all be, They
were fighting. Some people were fighting for love back in the '60s, right? Fighting for peace. The hippies were.
Right.
The establishment was still pretty like, shit, civil rights? We got to give these motherfuckers civil rights? I mean, we really have to be civil to these people?
Yeah. It's a weird way to frame it. You're right, civil rights.
Not even equal. We got to be civil. Like, we got to go to the president to ask them to be civil.
And you had to go to Lyndon B. Johnson, who's like the whitest dude ever put on this planet. Like, is that not the whitest name actually ever? Maybe John F. Kennedy. But Lyndon B. Johnson. Hey, Lyndon B. Johnson. Black people are asking for their rights now. What do you think, Lyndon B. Johnson? Oh, wow. And then he was like, yeah, okay.
What kind of rights? Equal? Not equal. Civil.
Not equal. Yeah. Closer.
We'll just be civil.
Yeah.
We'll let him go to school.
Shit. There he is. Oh, I'm so glad to connect.
Yes.
Here's Toriano, man. So back when this show was called Burns and Holla, I believe, Toriano, you were the second. Everybody knows where to follow us on Twitter. I'm just going to take this down. Let me hide this. All right. Terry, if you remember Toriano, I think, the second time you and I actually did this, Toriano was on. And of course, you and I know each other from Kansas City. You were like, I describe you as my producer, but it wasn't really a role that station had well defined at that point. And then moved on to much, much better things, the Kansas City Star. And then recently I saw that you put together an ebook called The 5 People You Meet in the Hood Before You Go to Heaven.
Yes, sir.
And that shit is taking off, Toriano. And honestly, I explained to Terry last week, I hate it when people I know and love do well. But you're one of the exceptions.
You are
one
the man.
Of like 7.
You are the man, Zach. You are the man. I mean, I appreciate you. Holla, good to see you again, my brother.
Man, Merry Christmas to you.
Man, always. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, man, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay.
Yeah. So tell us about just tell us about the book.
Okay.
Not every question has to be the most creative. I see Leno sometimes, or I used to see Leno be like, so tell us about the movie. And he's on all the time. So let's tell us about what you got.
The 5 People You Meet in the Hood Before You Get to Heaven is my first digital only project. I put together, it's 5 personal essays about 5 people who were influential in my life. And for people who don't know me, your readers and viewers, just want to explain a little bit about my background. I was born and raised in South St. Louis in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up in the 1990s, there was a lot of pitfalls. We had guns, drugs, and crime. I know it sounds cliche, but that's the reality of where I grew up. And I had to navigate those pitfalls to try to get where I was trying to go, which was college football and be a journalist. That I was trying to escape the hood.
Right.
In the urban community. And so as you go along at 18, 20, 25, you run across different things. In my life, I ran across a couple of different things that would have changed the course of my life. But I had 4 or 5 people that was present in my life to say, no, that's not the route you want to go. Let's do something else. And so I wanted to pay homage to these people because these 5 people that I wrote about, I actually lost them within the span of 19 months.
Oh, boy.
Really?
Yes. So my first, my best friend from elementary school, Worry Watkins, and he was shot and killed at the age of 33 in St. Louis.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah. My best friend from high school, Ricky, he was 35 years old when he took his own life. A day before he took his life, my firstborn son's half brother was shot and killed in St. Louis at the age of 19.
Toriano, can I actually, tell me what's too painful to talk about?
No, man. I'm an open book. I wrote the book.
Right.
It was my way of therapy. Writing is therapy for me. That's how. But these things happened 12 years ago.
Okay.
So 12
years, there's fresh wounds and then there's wounds that never close.
Yeah.
You had a friend who was 35 who took his own life. Did you see that coming?
No, not at all. Absolutely not. I was dumbfounded and shocked by it because I knew this guy, and I knew growing up what he went through to get out of the environment he was in. But in the same token, I had to give him grace because we never know what people are going through. So
we don't.
I had to get over that, just because he was a tough guy and came from tough, background doesn't mean I knew what he was going through when he took his life, but it still was hurtful. And so at the time, my best friends, I had two. One died at 33, one died at 35. We're all the same age. Yeah. So that mortality, you come to grips with your mortality. We're here, we're gone. What are you going to do in between time? So that happened. Then my firstborn son, his half brother was shot and killed in St. Louis a day after my best friend took his own life. 4 months after that, my firstborn son was shot and killed at age 16, Toriano II. And 2 days before he died, my stepmom died of breast cancer. So I put all that into a ebook.
I don't know, I knew about your son. We've talked about that before. How for all that to happen within a 6-month span? What do you?
19 months.
19 month span. Yeah. Yep. I mean, what do you do to put one foot in front of the other?
Zach, at the time, I kind of just buried my head in work. I didn't want to think about it. I didn't, again, these things happen back to back to back. I lost my best friend first. That until my son died, that was the saddest day of my life because he was 33 years old. I mean, that's fairly young. And to be murdered in the streets of St. Louis, it shook me up. Then 2 years, less than 2 years later, 18 months later, my second best friend takes his own life. I'm like, damn. So it was really hard coming to grips with that. And I was sad, but when you lose your son, then everything changes. So I lost my son. There was 2 ways I could go. I could tuck my tail in between my legs and stop doing the work that I was put on this earth to do, or I could pick myself up, as they say, by the bootstraps, get my stuff together and try to do something positive. So I buried a lot of that trauma. I buried a lot of. I wrote a piece. It was just a little social media post earlier this year that I never really actually sat and cried over the death of my son. It took me 12 years to do that because I did not want the people who was responsible for his murder to feel like they won. And that is trauma, bruh. You know what I'm saying? And that sat with me for 11 years. So I just wanted to release that. And so once I released that cry, that tear, I was like, okay, it's time to just write and put something out in the world, So that's kind of how I came up with the concept of the 5 people you meet in the hood before you get to heaven. And I'm sure some of your readers and viewers will know where I jacked that title from.
Oh yeah, Mitch. Yeah,
Mitch was the man. Coming up when I was young, I wanted to be a sports reporter. I'm an opinion writer now. I do hard news, but I always say I'm a hard news reporter, but I'm really a sports reporter, masquerading as a hard news reporter. I really wanted to be like, before Whitlock lost his mind, I wanted to be like Whitlock back in the day. He was, when I was coming up, when Jason Whitlock was in KC, man, he was a bad boy. He was something to be reckoned with. But what I respect about him then, he was a black man with an opinion, and he got paid to give that opinion, and that don't happen every day. So I wanted to be like that, right? Yeah. And so life takes you where it takes you. So I'm in hard news now, but I was always a fan of Mitch and the sports reporters. Yeah. And the book he wrote, The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, was a novel, but I was captivated by it. It's one of my favorite pieces of literature. So ode to Mitch, ode to my friends and family that I lost. And I wanted to kind of turn the connotation of hood on his head a little bit too.
There you go. I got a question for you, man, because looking at listening to your story, I'm drawing some parallels to my own life as of late. Like this past 7-8 months has been unbelievable, man. I've lost I don't even know, countless people the past 6-7 months to either cancer, COVID, other causes, and then my best friend killed himself in August. And the parallel is he mentally one of the toughest people that I've ever known. Came from South Central Los Angeles, from the gutter, home of gang.
Where we learned how to do gang culture from.
Exactly. Well,
right.
That's where it began, really. So, and it was like somebody who had come from that environment to put herself through college, graduate from business school, University of Washington, beautiful wife, couple of kids, and we just out of the blue, like in the midst of this pandemic, and decided to take his own life. And it just blew my mind. Like that would be something that I would never think this person that defeated all the odds. And I think that's crazy, right? When you think about it, when you look at your stories, when you talking about your boy who was 33 years old, by all intents and purposes, we had one. Like Zach, people of our generation that are young black men, we were not expected to make it past 18 years old.
Talk to him.
So that's, I mean, and I don't know this from experience, but this is how young black males were presented to me. You understand?
Wow.
In any film that I saw that described the young black male experience, unless of course you were a sports hero. But you use the word hood, Toriano. I know that word because John Singleton taught it to me.
Boys
and then there was there was that, there was Juice, there was New Jack City.
Yeah.
I didn't have any other experience except for these films to understand what a young black male was. And then in all of those films, no one lives to be 30. No one even gets close to 30.
Yeah, I mean, and I speak for Toriano since he disappeared for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, those were a lot of the things that we were dealing with. You look at the things that are happening today in today's society. We see the police and law enforcement having their clashes with young black males, being killed more frequently, and now it's turned into the entire Black Lives Matter thing.
Yeah,
we're out marching and protesting against it, because it's caught on camera. But what we don't know is that has been going on since forever and ever. It just wasn't caught on camera. So that's just one of the things, one of the hurdles and obstacles that, were faced upon young African-American men, growing up.
Terry, I'd be curious to know, as someone whose opinion was formulated, I mean, not opinion, but just what I would think when I met you, Terry. Let's say that I was, we're relatively the same age, and that what I knew about you existed solely from the films and the music that I ingested. What do you think of the cultural, is that the way are those films still important and good in terms of forming a mutual understanding? I'm not phrasing the question well.
Yeah, I understand where you're going.
Did you kind of see what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think those movies are important. They were important, and it definitely still are. I think it gives a perspective of what one aspect of life as a African American can be like in this country. I mean, it doesn't give an entire picture because not every single black person is brought up in that kind of environment.
Yeah, right.
And that's the challenge. It's like, it's like if you go see any movie or take any entertainment, they'll give you a slice of life. They don't give you the entire picture. It's like the entire black community in America is not a monolith. Not everybody is in the hood, but we do share a lot of very similar situations. Like Toriano, he grew up obviously somewhere in the Midwest, back east, and I lived down south and in Canada, and so our the places that we grew up, our environment was completely on separate parts of the country. But I guarantee you, there are a lot of similarities in our.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah,
and that is sort of, I guess, the problem why it's taking so long for there to be, because that what I brought up to you were black movies, right? And but you know, I would never be like, well, did you ever judge us by, you know, the money pit? No, of course not. You know,
and that lies the problem. Yeah,
yeah,
I've had that discussion with people, you know, a lot, especially since you know, everything's been going on with the Black Lives Matter movement and stuff like
sure.
that. Is people judge the entire black community based on things they see in a movie or things they hear on a song, where that doesn't really encapsulate the depth of who we are as a people. There's I have black friends that have. So for instance, and I think I've talked to you about this before, Zach. So when I was younger, I had a lot of black friends that were quote unquote from the hood that would never drink. They would never smoke. They would stay away from all that stuff. Whereas my white counterparts, that's all they did. They wanted to drink and smoke. And you know, that wasn't the image that we were getting on TV. When we see something on the movie, you see the black kids on the corner with the 40 ounces and smoking weed and stuff like that. Some of my friends, they didn't want to have any parts of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's one of the reasons that I chose to name the book what I did, Five People You Meet in the Hood, because again, like I said earlier, you know, I write for a Main Street paper here in America, and most of my audience is going to be the white audience. And, you know, I wanted to just bring them a different perspective because the hood is what made me. Like, I be where I am as an opinion writer in America, if not from my background. And like you said, Terry, that was a bunch of, I never smoked or drank until I got to college. You know, coming up, my friends and family kept me from that because they recognized, you know, I had something going for myself. And so the hood is the community. The hood is just a different neighborhood, which is a community. We had homeowners, we had business owners, but we also had those negative elements because in the 80s and 90s, that's what overtook our community.
Right.
Yeah. And so one of my stories in there, my best friend who took his own life, I'm glad you mentioned that about your friend, Terry, because my best friend, when we were 17, 18 years old, he told me he wanted to coach and teach one day, right? And when he took his own life, that's exactly what he was doing. So at the funeral, I remember being so mad, like, come on, man. All the things we went through in the 80s and 90s, this how you gonna go out? And you was doing exactly what you wanted to do? And then that's when I had to check myself. And I realized I didn't know what that man was going through. We don't talk about it in our community. The mental health struggle is real. And this was in 2000. My buddy died in 2009. This was 11 years ago. Man, mental health wasn't even on my radar.
No.
I'm 46 years old. I didn't go talk to a therapist until I was 42.
Yeah. I think I talked to Zach about that once before earlier in one of our episodes, is that, you know, as stigmatized as people might think mental health is and seeking help and going to talk to somebody about it in general, in the Black community, it is so stigmatized. Like, it's something that's, especially with men, we don't do that, man. You know, that's for soft people. You know, we don't do that. That's for white people, actually.
Yeah, no, I see two therapists.
Yeah,
we all do. All of us. Yeah.
No, but honestly, man, yeah, just coming up, that just something that was not presented to us as an option. We was gonna tough through it. We was gonna fight through it. What I realized was I was struggling. I was traumatized and didn't even know it. You know, and like I say, I pushed all that stuff to the back burner, all those emotions to the back burner, and just focused on the work. That way, I didn't have to think about it. I don't want to think about burying my son. I don't want to think about my best friend getting shot in his head 3 times, or my other second best friend taking his own life, man. And the way he did it, it was all bad. And so I just pushed it. I pushed it back. Then I just came to I couldn't take it anymore, man. I had to go talk to someone who was a professional.
At 42, though. So
at 42.
Yeah. That must have been an intense first session. I mean, not to violate, you know, the privacy of that session, but
you're not violating anything. I'm an open book. So the first time I went, to be honest, I used my IEP. I was being cheap. I got 5 free visits to a therapist. She was a white woman. Lovely. But I did not, and I could not open up to her. I just didn't feel like she related. Like, again, she was sweet, she was nice, but I couldn't be open and honest with her either. So I did a Google search. Black therapists in Kansas City, Missouri. A couple of dudes popped up. I found a guy, went and talked to him. First time we had a conversation, I opened up. And I went back for a year straight. No one made me go. Paid out of my own pocket every time I went. And I went for a year straight, man. And it was life-changing. But he gave me some tools to deal with the trauma. He gave me some tools to deal with the emotion. But just to be able to talk freely and be vulnerable and not be judged, that was freeing and was powerful, man. And so, yeah, that first session was really powerful because I was able to give him and what I couldn't give the first lady that I saw, you know.
And tools mean pills, right? Because that's what we take as a white community. They make everything better. But Toriano, was it important to you that he was male as well? Did that?
Well, you know,
because it's definitely more of a it's definitely more of a black male stigma, right? Or
yes, it was important that I found someone that looked like me. Like I say, I gave the lady a try. Sweet lady. If I see her today, I'll hug her and whatever. But I couldn't get down and grimy because I don't think she would understand where I was coming from. The first time I talked to this brother, it was almost like talking to you, Terry. We just started talking, and then the parallels just started jumping up. And he was just like, you know, man, you grew up in this environment and they took you out of that environment, but they didn't give you anything to help you survive outside of that environment. And it mine to a whole bunch. I was like, oh my God, I've been struggling since I was 18, 19 years old. Because, you know, we started losing people early in the 90s. I had homies dropping 16, 18, 19. So like you said, Terry, it was man, I was in college thinking I was not going to make it past 23, 24 years old. I got 21, I was blessed, you know. I didn't think I would make it to 22, 23. And I was in college, but I had lost 2 college teammates by that time.
What do you think was going to get you?
Guns, drugs, crime, jail. I had lost 2 teammates in college. They were shot and killed in the streets of St. Louis. These guys were my college teammates. The reason we left St. Louis to go to school was to get away from it. And all of them ended up dead in St. Louis. So that was an eye-opener for me. And so from that point, from 19 on, I didn't realize it, but I was traumatized from it because, again, these were teammates. These were my friends, and they were dying in the streets. Didn't even know I was traumatized, you know. So from that point on, I put up this tough guy stick, which led me to being kicked out of school and expelled because you can't fight on college campuses, right? And, you know, you have to go to class to do the work as well. So it changed my whole life, and I didn't even realize what was going on. I never carried a gun until my first teammate was shot and killed in 1993. I was 19 when he died. I had never carried a gun up until that point. Started carrying guns at 19, caught my first gun case. Stupid in Kansas City, being young and dumb.
But that's it. I mean, what happened to us here at the University of Washington? I had guys that, you know, that weren't from necessarily Seattle, but we had teammates that were from Los Angeles, Oakland, all up and down California, Texas, and guys that would come from these environments. And if people that were on our campus actually knew some of this stuff, like I had guys that would go to school at the University of Washington, one of the top schools in the country, with no books, but with guns in their backpack.
Absolutely.
Just walking around and with all these other students. It's because of the environment they came from. They were prepared all the time for anything to happen. And again, I think that's a result of traumatization that you have as a child. Like not even realize I'm in a relatively safe environment right now, but I'm going to go to school. I had a friend that used to just carry a machete every day.
Oh, wow. Would there have been anything, Terry, that could have prevented them from carrying those sort of weapons around? Like any reassurance they could have been given, or was it just so ingrained in them that they needed that form of protection?
I think it was. I'm 100% sure it was ingrained.
Yeah.
It would have to be some reprogramming, some serious in-depth reprogramming.
Yeah, because you're talking about 18 to 22, 23-year-old young men who have been traumatized by their environments and have no tools or no outlet. So the only thing they know is the fight fire with fire and bring the hammer. That was survival technique. You know, I learned that when I was in college. At some point, I had 2 pistols. I don't own any guns anymore. I don't carry guns. I don't own them. That's just a personal choice for me. But at some point, I had 2 pistols in college because, you know, coming from where I come from and then losing teammates, I'm like, I need to be protected. And then at some point, you know, I recognized that, shit, I'm probably in the safest place I'm going to be on account of, you know what I mean? And I literally took the guns home and stashed them in my auntie's house because I didn't need them. I took them back to St. Louis where I needed them, you know, at the time. And so my last 2 or 3 years on college, I never had a pistol, which, you know, I was probably 23 or 24 at the time. Then at 28, I just stopped carrying them all together because, you know, you live by the gun, you die by the gun, and I'm not trying to do either. So,
yeah. We was so in Seattle, we had some instances as well. You know, when you go out, you know, in the city as college football players, you go out in the city and you want to party with the people that's in the city. Like, I'm from the hood, right? From all around the country. We don't necessarily want to go hang out on Frat Road. We want to go where the party is, like, and it's in the street.
Yeah.
And so there's been several instances while I was in school where parties got shot up, like, and so guys would obviously carry guns. A lot of the guys on the team would carry guns. Like, one time we had a situation where there was a shootout in the party, and our starting running back jumped off a balcony and was done for the season. But they had to. This was a kid that was looking at a Heisman Trophy, and they had to come up with excuses of why he hurt his leg. But yeah, it's different experience for different people, man.
Wow. So you was there when Don James was there, Terry?
Don James recruited me. He came. I was there his first year, and then he retired in my freshman year, like 2 weeks into my freshman year.
Oh wow. Okay. So you played for Coach Pinkel as well. I know he came from Washington.
No, he was before.
He's before. Okay.
Yeah, he was before I got there. But yeah, Coach James recruited me. I was there for the first couple of weeks, and then I didn't get the full James experience.
Damn. So you didn't get a national title either, huh?
Oh man, don't rub it in.
Oh man, that's what we play for, brother. That's what we play.
I know. So here's the thing, and I don't know if you knew this, Zach, either. So they got the national championship in '91, University of Washington. Mm-hmm. I was a senior in high school in '92. And I was like, oh, yeah, they offered me a scholarship. I'm like, yeah, I'm going there. They're one of the top teams in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Before I stepped foot on campus that winter, there was a big investigation into the school, there's improprieties and all these illegal activities, and they went on probation. My first 2 years of college.
Like recruiting stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was some recruiting stuff. It was some like violations as far as guys getting jobs and allegedly not working them.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Paid exorbitant amounts of money for doing a menial work.
But kind of run of the mill stuff, but maybe
run of the mill stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of run of the mill. I mean, we really got smacked for being good. I think at that time,
right.
The Washington Huskies had gone to 3 consecutive Rose Bowls.
Yeah.
They won the national championship, and it didn't look like it was slowing down anytime soon. So they whacked us. So before I got punished for stuff that I was not even there for 2 years.
Yeah, that is kind of the shitty thing, is that the kids end up getting punished. But I just don't think the NCAA doesn't have any really creative solutions otherwise.
Nah. 25 years later, they still haven't came up with these.
Not really. Yeah, that's true.
Shoot, they killed SMU. SMU program disappeared off the face of the map for like 20, 30 years.
Man.
Yeah. And did you think the punishment was fair, Terry? When you got there?
Oh, hell no.
No,
not at all. I mean, for what they charged us with, actually, you know, the fact that a couple guys had some jobs that paid like that they didn't have to work for, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
It was the stuff. It was stupid. They charged us with lack of institutional control.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it wasn't like, it wasn't nothing crazy. Guys were getting hundreds of thousands of dollars and like Reggie Bush and things like that. Nobody got a house.
Which he deserves. You know, I feel like, you know, he brought a lot more than a couple $100,000 to USC.
USC,
so
absolutely.
Give him his money.
Absolutely.
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Even though like it's such a boring conversation to have now. It's almost like a climate change conversation. Like, should NCAA athletes get paid? Yeah,
absolutely.
They should get something. I mean, I don't know what it is other than their fabulous education.
Their market value.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Even though it might be that boring conversation, you still always gonna have. It's nothing. Obviously, nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. Yeah,
the naysayers.
True.
They tell you got a free education.
Yeah, which doesn't seem worth what you put out there for your school. As evidenced by the fact that look at this disastrous, I mean, this cobbled, I won't say disastrous, this cobbled together NCAA football season where it's like, oh, well, don't plan your Saturday around a particular game because it might be canceled. But we're going to put as many players at risk as possible and still maybe have this game. But yeah, still student athlete comes first, not athlete student.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I'll be honest with you. So I wasn't sure they were actually even going to have a football season. So
I didn't think they would.
Been a bonus for me at this point.
Yep.
So, but at this point, now that we're this deep into it, it's like a supreme like shit show. Like I'm looking at, for example, Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
I watched them play, and they're like clearly one of the best teams in the country. Like clearly. Talent-wise, on the field, they just look head and shoulders above their competition. But the fact that they have missed so many games this season and they're going to miss the game this weekend, now they might not be in the conversation for the national championship.
Exactly. Or even for the conference championship.
Yeah.
I think that they have to play a minimum of 6 games and only up to 5 so far.
So the question is, did they hurt themselves by starting so late? Because they were one of the first conferences, along with the Pac-12, was like, nah, we're not going to play this year.
No, that's true.
The Big Ten.
But I don't know. There's a lot of questions to be asked. It doesn't feel like a real season. How it's very similar to me to baseball, but baseball didn't feel like a real season to me. Yeah, if you're a Dodgers fan, good for you. But it was nice to see Clayton Kershaw, I guess, get a World Series ring, but it felt weird the whole time.
It felt rushed and weird. They play like what, 30 games, 40 games?
60 games.
60.
Yeah, it's not enough time. So Toriano, where can people get your book? I want as many people to read this as possible. It's
absolutely. The 5 People You Meet in the Hood is the #1 new release on Amazon.com.
I know, that's crazy.
Digital only project. You can download it on your Kindle app. You can also download it on the Kindle app for iPhone. So it is definitely available digitally. Again, #1 new release on Amazon for 1 week in a row. I'm extremely humbled and blessed. And man, it's a good read. It's a quick read, about 38 pages, 1 hour, about an hour time. And it's powerful and impactful. It's just stories about my life and how it was impacted. And one of the stories I told in that story, I was coming up in that book, I should say, the 5 People You Meet in the Hood. I was 18 years old. And this is a game changer for me, Jack. This is what I'm talking about. I'm 18 years old, home from college, my freshman year. I was a football player, Division II, full scholarship though. D1, D2, they paying for school. That's all that matter, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'm home from school. I don't have a dime in my pocket. I have a newborn son, and I got to buy some diapers. And I had a buddy. He was like, "Hey man, I can sell you $100 worth of crack for $50." I took the deal. I took a double up. My man, a double up. Dude sold me a double up. So I hit the block at 19, right around the corner from my grandma's house on Park Avenue in South St. Louis. With a broke her heart, she knew I hit the block, right? So the first 2 pieces of crack I tried to sell, I broke it down into 5 pieces, right? One of the pieces I flubbed trying to, I don't know how to cut crack, so I flubbed it, right? So I got 4 pieces of this stuff. I'm gonna try to make this $80, make something. So the first 2 pieces, my cousin, he was 6 months older than me. I'm 19 at the time, 18, 19 at the time. He comes up to me and say, "Hey man, there's a couple of guys around the corner, 1 or 2. Let me go ahead and sell that for you." I didn't see him again for like 4 years.
Right.
I was ganked. Swindled, bamboozled, man, boy. So, and then so the other 2 guys, it was 2 younger college-looking white guys, right? Undercover, but I'm naive. I didn't know. And so I'm getting ready to make that transaction, and my buddy, who took his own life, Ricky, he says, "TP, don't do it. Don't do it. Let's go. Let's go." That's Scat. Scat was street corner apprehension team, the jump out boys, whatever you want to call them. Like, man, what you talking about? Let me get this money. He's like, "Nah, man, come on, let's go, let's go." So I walk over to the car. He's like, "Man, that's Scat, man. Let's go." I jumped in the car. I mean, I'm not making this up, man. This is a real story. Threw those 2 pieces of crack out the window, and I never looked back. And I named that title in the book. I named that story "How to Save a Life." My homie who took his own life saved my life because it sell to those undercovers. I'm going to jail.
Yeah,
I'm just a brother in the street with a record.
Because that's like you said, that was what, 91?
1991, 92.
Yeah, anyway, so yeah.
92, 93, because I had graduated in 92 and I was home from college in 93. So it was the summer of 93. Yep.
But any amount of crack at that point was
at that point,
melodious.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
you're doing minimum 5.
Exactly. So changed my life, changed the whole trajectory of my life. And man, you need friends like that. You need friends. So I wanted to write about it and treasure their memories, you know?
Yeah.
I gotta so when you decided this is what you were gonna do, I'm gonna write this book, I'm sure this has probably been floating around in your head for a long time. Like I have these stories, all these experiences in my head that I could put out there. How in the world, like when did it finally hit you that I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna narrow this down? Because I'm sure you had to narrow it down.
Yeah, I had to narrow it. Here's the deal, and I'll tell you guys real quickly what I'm trying to do. Unfortunately, I have more of these types of stories. So I'm going to do the 5 people you meet in the hood, volume 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? And so what happened, I put my first book out in 2008, about 12 years ago. It's called The Pride of Park Avenue. It's about life growing up in that environment, trying to make good. I went out to college, did all that, newspaper report, all that, whatever. My second book came out in 2012. It was a novel, cute little love story between a girl and a boy. That first kiss, I called it James Cool.
I own that, Toriano. You remember?
My man.
Yeah. Signed copy, Terry.
Signed copy, baby. So 2008, 2012, my next book was going to come out in 2016. I called that The Plain Ugly Truth, Terry. I don't think America was ready for it. I definitely don't think my employer was ready for it. So I wanted to chase these writing dreams before I put it out. So I put it on the back burner. Because I even had a tagline, Coming Clean in 2016. It's that plain, ugly truth about some of the mistakes I've made, some of the pitfalls. I was going to put it all out there, right? I feel comfortable with it. It was going to be some blowback. I already know when you work for somebody, you just expect that, right? So I put it on the back burner, right? Put it on the back burner. People kept asking, when is coming? When is coming? Put it on the back burner. Then 2017, put it on the back burner. Then 2018, I was promoted from the KC Stars breaking news desk to the editorial board. So I put it on the back burner. Fast forward to 2020, March, COVID hit, right? Working from home, a lot of time spent at home. I want to have something tangible to show for my time being at home. So I started working. It's a whole different project I was working on. It was going to be something real fun. I was calling it Who Said St. Louis Ain't Hip Hop? The top 100 songs in St. Louis hip hop history. You guys might not know a thing about that, but it's more to St. Louis hip hop than just Hot and Her and Nelly, right? So I was doing that, and Chingy too. So I was doing that. I researched and I was doing that, but I was like, this is gonna take a lot more work than I think. It's not gonna come out in 2020. I just want to have something tangible to show for 2020. So I sat down. I was like, I know what I could do. I can write an ebook. It's quick. It's digital. I can't have book signings right now anyway because of COVID. So let me switch my mode from print to digital. So I wanted to go digital only. And that's kind of how it came about. It was actually a marketing tactic and also just something for me, like I said, to start the healing process. Because again, I'm an open book and I share these stories, but I wanted to share the stories of these folks to start that healing process. So that's kind of how I came up with the idea of the 5 people you met in the hood. I'm going to do 4 volumes every 6 months up until Black Friday 2022. Then I'm going to combine those into a paperback. And hopefully I can get back out here and start signing again and meeting with the people because I love meeting with the people. So that's the background of how they came together. And that's the marketing plan. Terry, thanks for that question. I really appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, no doubt.
How am I doing with I'm trying to understand your experience, whiteface?
Hey man,
am I pulling it off?
No, but you know what? You're a pretty smart guy. Just read it. Just read it.
I read it, dude. I love it. I think we brought this up the first time that you were on. Is that we were thrust together in a really weird work environment. and it wasn't ideal. And I don't think either of us realized, that there was a connection, but that we could have forged and really made what we were doing a lot better.
Right.
It was just sort of shitty. And I think that at least I finally realized what a resource that I had wasted after I had already decided to leave the program.
Right.
And it sort of sucked. And to see you go on and actually become, what I realized you could have been all along is really, really great.
Man, it's all good. And for, honestly, Zach, when I took that job, man, I was just trying to supplement my income. Man.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
I mean, I was working at the Lee Summit Journal. It's a community newspaper. I was working at a community newspaper. Wasn't even at the Star at that point.
Lee Summit?
Yes, in Lee Summit, yes. You got a good memory, brother. So I worked at this small community newspaper. The whole goal was to get downtown to the KC Star. It's like the major newspaper here where I'm at. That was the goal. And it took a while, but when you work in community news, you don't make
there's no cash there.
We work at radio, the community news, you don't make a lot of money.
Right.
Just trying to find something that was in my field, something that would work with my schedule just to kind of supplement my income. So, but again, it was a great experience because I got to be around the radio dial and I had never had that experience. So I'm multimedia now, man. Associate producer for the Burns and Morning Sully show is on. All experiences in Cali, yeah.
You got to diversify, man.
Man. So, but it's what I do. Like I was booking guests, stuff to the website. I mean, these things were easy, but you didn't know. You didn't know what you know. I don't even think the management knew,
Nobody knew.
No.
That you were an hour. Nobody was just particularly treated with a ton of respect there anyway, But yeah, it's. I'm glad that I got to see, what you really had to offer. I would have been sad to have left Kansas City without seeing all that, and that's
man.
Yeah, the success you've had on Amazon, which is you're dipping your toe into the deepest ocean possible, and for you to get some attention there is just really, really cool. Yeah, Jesus, man. Terry, do you hear me right now? I'm like,
I don't.
And like complimentary. Can someone cut my mic?
I don't even know.
I don't know what the fuck is this shit. Yeah, no, actually,
I mean, really though, isn't it awesome though? To me, just the person that I am, there's really no better feeling than to watch people that you knew or know blossom into the person that they're supposed to be, or the person that they always knew they could be. I think there's nothing greater than that. Yeah. So, and to watch my friends and associates do that is awesome, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I don't know. I like torn ACLs and it's just like, but Toriano, it is a very great thing. Like when I saw your post about, it was a very heartwarming moment for me. That was really awesome to see. And Jesus, am I still going on about this? We get it. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm just monologuing someone else's fucking success. Let's talk about me for a second. What do you guys think of me?
We Facebook friends. We're Facebook friends, right, Zach? So you made some big announcements over there. I don't know if you told your people.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So I'm moving to Los Angeles.
Talk about it. What's good? What's going good?
I can't say everything. This show will never ever end as long as Terry wants to talk. Ever. This is my favorite thing to do in the world. It truly is. I love. What did I take tonight? That I'm all like nice.
You must have got some good news today.
Seriously, yeah. I don't know what it is. I'm all cheery and everything. I'm gonna buy you to the biggest goose downtown. Yeah, I'm like just Scrooge on Christmas morning or something. I have a gig lined up in Los Angeles. Can't give all the details out for whatever reason, but I should be out there within the next month or so, and
wow,
it's cool. Yeah, I'm psyched.
Right on, man! Congratulations!
Congratulations! Absolutely, congratulations!
Thank you. Yeah, the show's about me again.
Hey, there you
go. No, I'm happy. It's been, as Terry knows, it's been for both of us. Considering we're just significant towns, it's been a very frustrating 2020.
Absolutely.
No, and you know, I say that sarcastically, but it's true. Like Terry is a super talented person who should have everything, and you know, I am as well. And then you put the two of us together, and it's like, Jesus Christ, why aren't people seeing this? And for something to finally come through is actually it's a great joy, and also just kind of, you know, you would get this too, Toriano. Like it's a great relief too.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
To finally be like, fuck, I don't have to run around and do 5 or 6 different things, you know, and now I only have to do 3.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's always good to get an opportunity to do what you love to do. And we know in this line of work, man, we do this because we love to do it.
Yeah.
I used to tell people all the time, if I could afford to write for free, I would do it. I found that passion a long time ago.
Yeah.
So able to, you know, reach the daily newspaper beat or reach the editorial board beat. Like I write opinion stuff now, man.
I know, I love it.
I wake up every day pinching myself, but I don't take it for granted, because in the racket we in, as you know, Zach, you can get cut at any time. So, you know, I take every day with a grain of salt, but it is a really good feeling to chop wood. That opportunity now, we just got to run with it now. So that was another thing I wanted to do with the book, get my name back out there as an author too, brand myself as a writer outside of being an opinion journalist. Because anything happens with the company, at least I'll have something to fall back on. So.
Yeah. And you know, I would say the Kansas City, you know, and I don't know your situation, but I still feel like it is very, it's very important to the community.
It is. Still. It is. Yeah. It is. But hey, this racket I'm in, man, it's day to day.
Yeah, it's true. So. Well, if you run out of people by the time you get to, you know, volume 4, you know, you could talk about Terry and I. We could be like the 18th and 19th person you meet in the hood.
Yeah. I might have to come to LA. Then hit Washington, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm coming to West Coast for life.
I'm coming to LA with you.
I would love it. Seriously, let's all live in this weird house together. And Tori, I want to compliment you on this. There was one piece in particular I was like, all right, this dude's got balls.
Okay.
When you took on the Big Slick, Jesus. So the Big Slick, Terry, is this charity softball tournament that happens in Kansas City once a year, and like all the Kansas City heroes come home. Paul Rudd,
Jason
Sudeikis, Eric Stone Street, the guy from Modern Family. Yeah. And they raised like $1 million. And then Toriano wrote the ballsiest fucking opinion piece ever on it. And I remember you tweeting about it and be like, oh, shit. I hope you have armed guards taking you home. So kudos to that, because I feel like what you said needed to be said. Terry, I'll send you a link to it.
I got lit up.
You got lit up. I could feel it from here.
I got lit up on Twitter and my inbox. But you know what? I said what needed to be said, and I have no regrets, because at the end of the day, Terry, basically, they invited 30 celebrities to come do this softball tournament. 27 of them were white. They had 3 black dudes. One was Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's a no-brainer. He's the damn quarterback of the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Was Kurt Menefee. I like Kurt Menefee. He's the NFL guy on Fox. I like him. And then there was one other person, right? Nobody that's going to make me go and spend my $50, $60 to go, you know, see. So I was like, Don Cheadle, where's Janelle Monáe? Where's all these people, black folks with Kansas City ties? Why aren't they here as well? And that's all I was saying. And people were like,
and people just went to
town. You need to go back to wherever you from, right? So. And I almost went down the rabbit hole a couple times on that Twitter too. You know, this is funny because Jason Whitlock actually tried to bait me into an argument. There's a couple of things I'm not going to do. I'm not going to go back and forth with Whitlock on Twitter. It's
no.
Get all his little minions and do that.
Yeah.
The thing is, bro, I respect you too much for who you were to go back and forth. So I say I respect your opinion, but I'm cool. I'm not going to get baited because, you know, his stick now is, you know,
right.
Right. But my inbox, my email inbox, I can't even tell you what was in that. I don't know if this is a family radio, but
it's not.
No.
Woo, man, I got it. But I took it and I kept moving.
Yeah, and here you are.
I'm gonna ask you this, and this is I'm gonna leave it alone after this because, like, I made a post the other day. I think it was on Facebook, and it was after all the Nate Robinson stuff went, and they was tearing his ass up, and they still are, and they probably will forever, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I made a post and I said, I hope I never become a meme because I don't think my self-esteem is ready for it, and I don't think my temper is ready for it. Because I said, because I'm gonna be up in some middle school kids inbox talking about what's up. Like, what you want to do, kid?
That's
so
real time.
Like when you get bombarded by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them.
Yeah.
You just
gotta know yourself. You gotta know yourself. Wow. But you know what, man? If I'm not mistaken, Nate is a Husky, isn't he?
Yeah, he's one of us.
Yeah. Hey, and Nate ain't no joke. He got knocked out, but Nate ain't no soft dude.
No, not at all.
Gonna come at you. You sent too many memes this way.
That's what I'm saying. He's from the South End out here, and he run around with some of these knuckleheads, and so you better be careful.
Yeah.
I mean, and then
the ring and real life, two different things.
That's what I'm saying. I try to explain people that, you know what I'm saying? Boxing for 3-minute rounds is a little bit different than fighting on the street. And I'm not saying which one is better or than the other one. It's just different.
Right.
Some people who are very good and talented on the block can get in the ring and get done in.
Yep.
Those guys train.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man.
And plus, isn't he much smaller? He's much smaller than Jake Paul, too.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
He's like 5'9".
He's 5'9".
Yeah.
Athlete, tough guy, big heart, man, but he just was, he was in the wrong record.
That dude is a boxer. He boxes for real. Like,
well, his brother's taking on Mayweather.
Yep.
I'm assuming Jake Paul and Logan Paul are brothers.
Yeah.
I think
so.
Yeah.
They are.
But yeah, man.
Crazy.
No, we live in a meme-free life.
Don't put me on it.
There's no way I'm getting in the UFC ring with nobody.
No, man.
No.
Train for life.
I mean, the thing is that I am a really good fighter, which might surprise both of you, but I don't need to prove it to anybody.
Nah.
That's what you tell you. That's what you tell them now. I mean,
I think just
I don't really have to at this point.
I don't really have to. I kick ass when I need to, and when I don't, I don't.
Right before COVID hit, and this second spike of COVID, and I was, my workouts was going good, and I was like, I'm gonna step it up a little bit. So I went and bought some boxing gloves, and I started hitting the heavy bag in the gym. And I want to tell everybody who thinks they can really
feeling yourself, huh?
Do 2 minutes on a heavy bag.
Right.
It'll change your life.
I've been doing this. I've actually been taking virtual boxing lessons, and I know, like, I've been saying a lot of things sarcastically, but I'm actually doing that. I've been doing that up until a couple of weeks ago, and even punching and not landing the punches, like even when you're just kind of doing combinations, wears you out in 60 seconds.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, 3 minutes must feel like a lifetime.
Your heartbeat will beat through your chest, man.
Yeah.
I stepped in the boxing ring once when I was about 10. Went to the, little community center. Took a couple of punches. I was like, nah, this is not for me.
It'll be fun one day for charity. We should, everybody who's been on the show, we should just have like a Digstown type thing,
I'm not in it.
I'll be a judge. I'll be the MC dude, the Michael Buffer dude. I'm not putting on no gloves. I'm like, punch, man. Like, you see what happened to Nate. You couldn't have told me that was going to happen to Nate before he got in that ring. Nate is a tough, he a little dude. He a tough dude.
He won the championship.
True.
Twice.
How he did what?
He won the dunk championship.
Yes.
Twice.
So, dude, not only is he tough, he's an athlete. Phenomenal athlete, 5'9". So he's strong.
Yeah.
They didn't keep him from hitting this position.
Nope. Stretched out on national TV. And Snoop Dogg was talking bad about it.
Oh, I know.
He's saying
it's gotta be horrible. While he was still knocked out, Snoop Dogg was talking shit.
Yes, no, I'm not taking.
You gotta wake up to that news.
Yeah,
how bad is that? You don't even know what's happening.
Yeah,
all right,
man. No means
Toriano, man, it's always great to catch up. And
man, thanks for thinking of me, Zach. Man, really, man, I really appreciate.
I think you're great. I like I love that there's because I'm trying to write something great myself, and when I see someone that I know do it, then I think, well, I know them, so I could probably even do it better.
Yeah. Here's what
I appreciate that.
That's good. That's good. Listen. No, this is what I learned though, man. To get great at writing, you got to write.
Yeah, just gotta keep doing it
and put it out. Let the world see your words. You're gonna get better the more times you do it.
Sure.
You guys, right now, in 4 or 5 years, you're gonna look up one day. I'm gonna be on your New York Times bestseller list. I'm saying it right now. I'm manifesting it. All right,
you guys. You're gonna be.
I'm gonna be.
You're gonna be. All right.
Gonna be. Absolutely.
Don't doubt it. Not one bit.
I don't doubt it whatsoever.
And it started from a 38-page digital ebook.
Yeah.
So Zach, get the right man. I'm challenging you.
I mean, at least let's first to the New York Times bestseller list. Owes the other a lunch. That should be our little gentleman's bet. If you get there first, yeah.
All right. And if you get there first, I got you. It's gonna be a big boy lunch too. We're gonna have Dom Perignon and all that.
Oh fuck yeah! Sounds great. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, you have a great holiday season.
Hey, no doubt. Hey, man. If any of your people want to, any of your viewers want to catch me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Toriano Porter. That's
Let me put it back up here again.
Yeah.
Here we go.
TOR. There you go.
Yeah. All up there. He's a good follow.
Yeah, I'm all right.
I look okay. One thing that you're way better at now. Even if you're not doing anything important that day, Toriano, your fucking morning, I'm about to do something important photo sessions that you take make it seem like you're about to just conquer shit. Like you're about to just own everything.
Hey, man, listen, I have a quote unquote brand manager.
Yeah.
To do all this stuff. I just want to write, but they like you can write, but it's going to go into the hole. Nobody's going to read it.
Right.
So, quote unquote, sell how cool I am. Right.
Do you look cool?
Man, I just want to write, man.
You got to do, baby. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Website is torianoporter.com. Everything's all the same, simple stuff. And the book is on Amazon.com. The 5 people you meet in the hood.
Before you go to heaven. I love it, man.
I'm going to get it now.
Appreciate you, sir.
Hey, man. Yeah, we'll talk again in the new year.
Yes. Good luck in LA, man.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Sir. All right. See you, brother.
All right, man.
Thank you.
All right. Terry, hold on one second. All right. See you, buddy.
Peace.
All right. So, what do you think of this for next Tuesday? My dad and one of his ex-teammates.
Oh, yeah. Couple of old hockey players in the room.
Couple of old knucklehead hockey players coming on and probably upsetting all of us.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
What about what's more than 2020 than being upset?
Yeah, exactly. Is it weird? We have 23 days left, and then I'm still in this mindset like, well, we just have 23 days left, and then everything resets and everything will be great on January 1st. It's weird. It's hard to not realize like, no, 2020 is just how we describe the shitty time that we're in right now. It's not actually referring to the year anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't like just scratch. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
All right.
We got some ways to go, man. But hey, let's roll with it.
Let's roll with it. Let's roll again on Thursday. How's that sound?
I'm with it.
All right. I'll talk to you then.
All right.
All right. Have a good night, dude. Share this. Everybody, hit share button.